Hey everybody, Father Warner here. We are in Thursday of the fifth week of Lent, and our first reading is taken from Genesis chapter 17, verses 3 to 9. I'm going to focus on this text specifically. I'm going to refer to my notes today because there are several technical points that I want to make. I'll keep this as pastoral as possible. Now, I've said this before and I'll say it again, that faith, like the spiritual life, is not a moment, it's a journey. So our faith journey itself have several beautiful moments. We know of Abraham as our father in faith. Our text today is about Abraham. We call him our father in faith. But I don't know whether you know this, but even Abraham had his faltering moments. He was not always perfect when it comes to the faith, and I'll talk about one of those moments right in today's text. You know, the text of today is a covenant. God makes a covenant, and if you look at the Old Testament, there are about 5 covenants. Some scripture scholars will say there are 7 covenants that God made in the Old Testament. I was reading an article by Steve Ray, and he said that there were 7 such covenants. I think I would settle for 5 covenants that there are. Now, straight away, a covenant is not a contract. They are completely different. First of all, a covenant is always initiated by God. And God, in his covenants, does not humble man, he exalts man. Look at Noah, look at Abraham, look at Moses. God, David for that matter, God always wanted to exalt those with whom he entered into a covenant. He has entered that covenant with us. He exalts us. A covenant is not a servant-master relationship, but more a parent-child relationship. Now, these covenants are not like, some of the products we buy. We buy a new refrigerator. It has a warranty and a guarantee. The warranty is short term. You have to pay more for a warranty. The covenants of God are not like some warranty or a guarantee. They are conditional. Yes, God puts his conditions. He will always say, I will be your God, you will be my people. But these covenants are lifelong. Today, God establishes his covenant in chapter 17 with his people and with Abraham. Now, in this covenant, you will notice that God promises Abraham land, the promised land, and he also promises this land for his descendants. But here's the key word: provided they keep the covenant. We know that the people later on did not keep the covenant of God, and God dispossessed them of the land. He sent them into exile for 70 years. He gave them the land again under King Cyrus, but God also dispossessed them of the land. It's not because God broke his word, it's because the people broke the covenant. Now, God does not enter into covenants with perfect people. If that was the case, then I don't think he would have ever entered into a covenant with any of us. If you look at chapter 17, verses 1 to 3, God asks Abraham to walk before him and to walk blameless. Now, this word blameless in Hebrew is tamim, T-A-M-I-M. And blameless does not translate as sinless. That's a big ask. Okay, God understands we are human. But blameless or tamim translates as having a right relationship with God. We know that even Noah was asked to be blameless, and yet we know that after the flood, Noah gets into a drunken stupor. So in that sense, Noah was not sinless, but Noah strove to be in a right relationship with God. Now, I want to focus on Abraham as our father of faith, who also at times faltered in his faith. And for this, I'm going to refer to the life of Father Abraham, as we call him. So remember, in chapter 12, God calls Abraham out of his land. He is now 75 years old when God calls him out. And in chapter 15, God promises Abraham to make him the father of a great nation. Of course, for that, he would have to have heirs. And we know that even at the age of 86, even though he was called at 75, up to the age of 86, Abraham had no children. Now, in chapter 16, verse 16, we are told, also in chapter 16, that Abraham and his wife Sarah decide not to put their trust in God because they're anxious. They are old in age, and therefore Abraham and Sarah come to some agreement, and Abraham has sexual relationships with his Egyptian servant Hagar. That is in chapter 16, verse 16, and Abraham is 86 years old. The next verse is chapter 17, verse 1, and we are told that Abraham is now 90 years old. Does he have a child? No. About 13 years have passed since he had a child with Hagar. He still doesn't have his child, and chapter 17, which is from where our text is taken, finds Abraham to be 90 years old. Guess what? It is not in chapter 17 where God makes a covenant with Abraham, but in chapter 21 that finally Isaac is born. Now, it took God almost 25 years. Yeah, he made a promise, but it took 25 years for that promise to be fulfilled. Now, many of us get upset with God. We wonder why God could not respond faster to our needs. It took Abraham 25 years, and he had his moments of weakness, but he trusted in God. So many of us live in what I call or rather have a relationship with God like we have a relationship with Instagram. Yeah, we click a picture, we post it immediately, we want likes immediately, everything has to work instantly. But we don't have an Instagram God. I think we have a dark room God. You know those old films, you clicked a picture, went into a dark room. God develops you in a dark room. Yeah, and then finally you have a memory, a photograph that is kept forever, not like an Instagram post that gets deleted or gets liked randomly. Now, coming to Abraham, God therefore promised him a nation, and God kept that promise to him. We are told also that Abraham, his name was Abram. Ab means father. Abram simply meant that he was a father of things exalted, and God changed his name from Abram to Abraham, or rather Ab-Hamom. Ab-Hamom really means as I said, his father, but father now of a great nation. So was his name changed as a reward? I don't think so. God didn't change his name as a reward, but God changed his name as a reminder of his promise. So keep that in mind. God didn't change his name as a reward, but as a reminder. Now, somehow we might begin to think that this text is all about Abraham or about faith or about covenants. Yes, all that is helpful, but this text is about God. Because God chose us, God formed us, God made a covenant with us, and God does not break his covenant with us. So I hope you like this teaching, and if you did, please like it, leave a comment, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.